Welcome back, my friends, to the show that never ends. Well, you know, I just had to start off the video with that line, didn't you? Today we're having an in-depth look at this brand new book from author Bruce Pegg. Welcome back, my friends, A People's History of Emerson, Lake and Palmer. Now, for any of you who might have considered yourself a little dubious at the idea of a book of fan recollections of concerts they'd attended over the years, feel free to count me amongst your numbers. I wasn't quite sure how this was going to work when I first heard about the book, but I might have changed my mind on that one. So stick around and we'll go through this together and have a look at what's between the covers. I'll take you inside the pages of the book in a few moments, folks, but if you'll permit me a few housekeeping items. This is the hardcover edition of the book, which I believe is still available for sale online. Purchasing information will be in the video description. There's also a softcover paperback version of the book coming shortly, so if that interests you, you can keep your eyes open for that. There's, I believe, 330 pages, just short of 400 fan entries from, I believe, 57 or 58 year span of time, and I think about 200 concerts in total are covered. Now, it makes perfect sense the vast majority of the concerts discussed are in fact Emerson, Lake and Palmer, but the author does branch out a little bit with a few entries from, I think, as far back as 1967 with Keith Emerson and the Nice, Greg's time with King Crimson, the late 1960s, of course, revolutionary music, Carl's time with Asia, Emerson, Lake and Powell with the great Cozy Powell on drums, the Band 3 with Keith and Carl and Robert Barry, 1987, 1988, something like that. It covers a little bit of Greg's time with Ringo Starr and the All-Star Band, Keith and Greg's 2010 tour, and of course, various solo shows from all three men over the years, with the very last entry being from the author Bruce Pegg, having seen Carl Palmer last summer 2025 with his solo show. For me, the book is a fantastic 1970s time machine. Anybody who experienced concerts back in the days in a much less technologically advanced time period, a lot of this will ring true. All kinds of memories of the fans who saw ELP as their very first concert, experiencing the sheer spectacle of ELP, their musicality, their live performance, which was stunning to say the least. Interesting discussions from some fans of sneaking in cassette players to bootleg record the audio of shows, run-ins with security, all sorts of other memories which are really interesting to read. There's also a couple of specific guest commentators as well. Jethro Tull's Ian Anderson has a little column about his time on the road with the guys in the band. I believe ELP and Jethro Tull toured on two separate occasions. I actually saw the two bands together at a package tour in 1996. I believe it was Canada's Wonderland, Kingswood Music Theatre just north of Toronto that summer. Fantastic show. The other guest commentator of special note is filmmaker Cameron Crowe. Some of you may know Cameron Crowe because he started off as a very young rock journalist in the 1970s with Rolling Stone magazine and did in fact review a couple of ELP's early recordings. Many of the fans give a warts and all representation of that time, seeing concerts in the 1970s. It was a live rock and roll show. Things went wrong, power outages, malfunctioning equipment, Keith's interesting use of the Moog ribbon controller, need I say any more? Countless reviews commenting on how fans had never seen anything like this before, and it inspired them to listen to classical music, which of course was so imbued in ELP's sound. And many of them picked up instruments and went on to become musicians, which is just another example of how influential ELP was. But the one thing that I found most interesting is story after story of fans getting to meet the band, the humanity of the band members, taking time to talk to the fans, shaking hands, taking photos, just hanging out backstage. It adds a certain extra element to the story of Emerson, Lake and Palmer, which I think you'll find really interesting. So sit back with your favorite beverage and I'll take you through the book, show you some of the pages, and I think you'll really enjoy it. And here we go, folks. Going to have a good look around this brand new book. Welcome back, my friends. A People's History of Emerson, Lake and Palmer from author Bruce Pegg. Quick look at the spine. And the back of the book. Again, it's a beautiful hardcover edition. And as mentioned, there is a paperback on the way. Inside the front cover, some beautiful color photos of newspaper clippings, concert tickets, backstage passes. Great collection of material. Foreword to the book is written by none other than Carl Palmer. All kinds of great pieces of memorabilia. Here's a poster for the band's very first concert ever. A couple of concert tickets from the same venue in the same year. One's for the Nice and one is later 1970 for Emerson, Lake and Palmer. Fantastic photo of Carl. Give you an idea of the layout. Basically, it's broken down by venue and city, followed by entries from fans who attended those shows. Some shows have more than one entry from different fans. More great photos. A very large number of them are unpublished, never seen before. Here's a specific entry for the California Jam. I believe this was one of the shows where Keith played his piano that actually rotated in the air. The iconic Olympic Stadium show in Montreal on the Works Tour. Again, more great photos. As mentioned, not only ELP are covered, but Asia, Emerson, Lake and Powell. Here you see a couple of tickets and backstage passes. There's entries from the Nice, King Crimson. This was an actual show that I attended at Massey Hall on the Black Moon Tour. Again, more great photos. A couple of Keith. Some pics from the 2010 tour, Emerson and Lake together. Of course, it wouldn't be complete without entries from the High Voltage Festival, the band's 40th anniversary, their last ever concert. And some great pics from the show. Inside the back spine, more great colored bits of memorabilia. I actually owned this issue of Circus magazine at one point, and I do have a backstage pass from this same Jethro Tull ELP tour, 1996. So there you have it. Great piece to add to your collection if you're an ELP fan. Take care, folks.